The U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has announced that the United States will make several big announcements in the next 48 hours, ahead of a critical Wednesday deadline to finalize trade pacts. Bessent indicated that new offers and proposals are pouring in. He explained that letters, which President Donald Trump said would start being delivered on Monday, are not ultimatums but rather state the upcoming tariff rates unless countries choose to negotiate further. Bessent declined to link these trade talks to negotiations over TikTok's ownership, but confirmed he would meet his Chinese counterpart in the coming weeks to discuss potential cooperation beyond trade.
I expect that we can see a substantial reduction in the tariffs that we are being charged, as well as non-tariff barriers, currency manipulation, and the
A European Commission spokesperson has said that the European Union is still aiming to secure a trade deal with the United States by July the 9th, striving to avert looming U.S. tariff hikes. The spokesperson indicated that talks between the Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and President Trump had been good. However, uncertainty remains whether a breakthrough has been achieved to prevent tariffs on the EU products from potentially rising from 10% to 20%. Trump's administration is pushing to finalize various trade agreements ahead of his July 9th deadline for announcing higher retaliatory tariffs.
The European Union is a major blow.
And Thailand has submitted a new trade proposal to the United States offering zero tariffs on many U.S. imports. This urgent bid aims to avert a potential 36% U.S. tariff hike on Thai products, with a critical July 9th deadline looming. Thailand's Finance Minister Pichai Chunhavajira, who recently held talks in Washington, expressed confidence that the revised offer is very favorable and should satisfy U.S. concerns. The proposal includes commitments to increase imports of American goods to balance trade within a decade. The U.S. is currently Thailand's largest export market. And the Central Bank of Egypt has announced that the country's net international reserves reached a historic high of $47.1 billion by the end of December 2024. This marks a significant increase of $157 million from the previous month. On a year-on-year basis, Egypt's foreign exchange reserves grew by $11.9 billion in 2024. These reserves are a crucial indicator of a nation's ability to meet international financial obligations and stabilize its currency. Morocco has officially joined the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, or the PAPS. Bank El Maghrib, Morocco's central bank, signed the membership agreement, marking Morocco and making it the 17th country to become part of the network. PAPS is designed to enable real-time, efficient and cost-effective cross-border payments in local African currencies, a key step towards boosting intra-African trade under the African Continental Free Trade Area. The CEO of PAPS welcomed Morocco's entry, emphasizing the growing trust in the system to address Africa's cross-border payment challenges. The World Bank has announced that Syria's gross domestic product is expected to grow modestly by 1% in 2025, a slight recovery following a 1.5% contraction in 2024. In its statement, the World Bank noted that while the easing of sanctions offers some upside potential, overall progress remains limited. This is attributed to persistent challenges such as frozen assets and restricted access to international banking, which continue to hinder energy supply, foreign assistance, humanitarian support, trade and investment in the country. And oil prices gained today, shrugging off both a larger than expected August output hike by the OPEC Plus and concerns over potential U.S. tariffs as a tight physical market provided support. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and their allies, the OPEC Plus, agreed on Saturday to raise production by 548,000 barrels per day in August, a more substantial increase than their recent monthly adjustments. Brent crude futures climbed by just over 1% to trade at about $69.18 a barrel. Meanwhile, the U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was up nearly 1%, reaching about $67.60. And gold prices retreated to a one-week low on Monday. The drop comes as the U.S. dollar firmed up and traders digested news from the U.S. President Donald Trump regarding trade. Spot gold was down nearly 1% and trading at about $3,307 an ounce. Meanwhile, the U.S. gold futures also saw a decline, losing about 0.75%. The stronger dollar was up 0.2% against a basket of their major currencies, makes a dollar-priced gold more expensive for buyers with their currencies. And global markets displayed a mixed performance today, with the U.S. futures seeking declines, while European markets generally trended higher and Asian indices showed varied results. In the U.S., futures for the S&P 500 dipped 0.60%, Nasdaq declined 0.60%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average decreased 0.72%. In Europe, the UK's FTSE 100 inched down 0.18%, but France's CAC 40 increased 0.26%, and Germany's DAX increased 1.01%. Meanwhile, the Asian markets were varied. Japan's Nikkei 225 dropped 0.56%. The Shanghai Composite Index inched up by 0.02%, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index was down 0.12%.